Hey guys, so we've got a new season with Chapter 4 Season 2, which means there's a lot of new items and weapons, etc. to talk about, so I thought I'd do a quick video on this. Essentially how I'm going to do it is I'm going to place the weapons in a tier, and then I'm also going to show here essentially whether or not the gun, what its kind of effective range is. So obviously, you know, the katana is more like 0 meters, you can't really use it as a weapon. But then some of these other weapons, you know, how far you're able to shoot them, etc. And then also whether they are more of a weapon for a 2-gun setup or a 3-gun setup. So essentially what that means is for certain people, you know, they don't like to change weapons between in the middle of a fight, so they will use basically one gun like a red eye, which is their, you know, longer range weapon. And then they'll have another gun like the combat shotgun or the Maven, which will allow them to, you know, just use these weapons only, right, without having to run a third gun. And during a fight, when the fight gets close range, they'll just use the combat shotgun or the Maven only. Whereas other people prefer to use a 3-gun setup like myself, so they might use a red eye, a havoc pump, and then a pistol afterwards. And during that close range fight, they will, you know, use the havoc pump and then switch to the pistol and then switch back to the havoc pump, etc. So essentially, the 3-gun setup, you know, is more aggressive, more damage per second. But the 2-gun setup, you know, allows you to run things like an extra hammer, or in this case, you know, now we don't have the hammer, we have this the kinetic blade, aka the samurai sword. So they can run, you know, samurai sword, a shield bubble, and a splash, which you can't do when you're carrying 3 guns, right? So hopefully that gives you a little explanation on how I'm going to show each of the weapons in the video today. And just while we're watching the video, I will have some gameplay in the background of 2 26 kill games, just so you can see. Unfortunately, it's from last season. Okay, so to start with, katana, obviously at the moment there are no other movement items in the game, so this will automatically be, you know, S tier, or if there was a higher tier like S++, you know, it would be there. The reason why is because essentially the way the kind of zero build fights generally work is somebody will get some opening tags, usually with the longer range weapon like a red eye, and then they come in for the cleanup, right? In T modes, it would be more like when you get some knocks or tags, and then you want to come in and clean up. You need a movement item like the kinetic blade, and last season the hammer, or impulses, or shockwave grenades, or shockwave bow. So, you know, this, especially too, also if you start getting fried from somebody, you need a weapon, a movement item to run away and heal yourself up a bit. The kinetic blade is that for this season, so it's automatically S++ tier. In terms of it as a weapon, it's not really a great weapon, but essentially it is a 0 meter. You know, you can use it maybe 3 or 4 meters max. It doesn't have any range, and it's equally as good in a 2-gun and a 3-gun setup. So I'm just going to put it there on the range indicator. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Next one, we'll go through the ARs. First one is Cobra DMR. I know some people do like the DMR. The Cobra DMR is a decent weapon, but considering how much other great weapons we have in the loot pool, it's not amazing. You know, the recoil is a little bit weird. It is a projectile weapon, not a hit scan weapon. So, you know, when you consider that kind of thing, when we have such other, you know, powerful weapons like the red eye in the loot pool, it makes the Cobra DMR a little bit harder to recommend as a weapon. But like I said, it is a projectile weapon. It is, you know, accurate if you can handle that projectile drop off. But, you know, it isn't a hit scan like the red eye. So in terms of range, it is not really useful at 0 meters. Obviously, it has a scope, so you have to scope in. So, you know, I can't recommend it at 0 meters. From about 10 onwards, it becomes okay to use. And then, you know, 10 to 50, it's pretty decent. 50 to 100, it's pretty decent. But past 100, it starts to get kind of hard to hit, and you have to tap fire it, so its DPS kind of drops through the floor. So I would say it's between this kind of 10 to 100 that it becomes useful. So anywhere between these two. So I just put it around 100. In terms of whether it's a 2-gun or a 3-gun, it's essentially your AR, so it's going to be the same regardless, right? It's always going to be in either a 2-gun or a 3-gun setup. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle. Next weapon we have is the red eye. So this is an S plus, S weapon. It's perfectly accurate. It hits pretty hard. It has 25 bullets in the magazine from the start. At gold rarity it does 40. At white rarity I think it's 25. And then it does like 1.5 times headshot. So this weapon, it can absolutely melt people. It's really strong. It's easy to use because it's a hit scan. I think this is one of the best weapons in the game. I've heard that it doesn't have that much aim assist. Personally, I play on keyboard and mouse, so I don't know about the aim assist, but I've seen some controller players absolutely laser with it. So I think it's just one of the best weapons. In terms of where it is, from 0 meters, it's not too easy to use. You can hip fire it, and it's okay at hip firing, but it's not the best. Compared to some other guns, like a lot of the other guns will have more damage from that, like 10 to 50 meter range, but after 50, it really starts to shine and just becomes better and better. So from 50 to like 275, it's really strong. But I would say it's usable from 0 meters. It's okay at 10 plus meters, and then from 30, 50 onwards, it starts to really shine. So I'm going to put it at this like 275 because you can use this up to 275, no problems, without any issues. Again, between the 2-gun and 3-gun setup, it is a 2-gun. It's fine in a 2-gun because it's AR. It's fine in a 3-gun because it's AR. So it's extremely versatile. So I would say you can use it in a 2-gun fine, and you can use it in a 3-gun fine. But I'm just going to put it in the center here. Next one we have also an assault rifle is the Havoc. I would say this one really depends on rarity. Obviously, the red eye doesn't matter so much about rarity. But for the lower end Havocs, they're okay. Like I put them as like a B, maybe a C. But as the rarity gets higher, this gun ends up becoming amazing. So it can be like a S or a A. Personally, I will put it as a A. But I think for mythic rarity, it can be an S for the right person, can be an A for another person. The best way to think about this rifle is it's essentially a hammer. AR with a silencer, so it's got a bit more drop off, but the bloom is very tight at most ranges, and you can tap fire it. It does a little less damage, but it has more bullets, so I think it's a really good weapon. In terms of where you can use it, I'll just grab it here. You can use it from 0 meters totally fine. It's not a scoped weapon, and you can use it up to 50. It probably does some of the most damage, like between that 10 to 50. Obviously 10 to 0 is more shotgun territory and like SMG territory, but from 10 to 50, it's some of the strongest, one of the strongest guns in the game, I would say. And then from 50 to 100, it's still pretty good. And then 100 onwards, it gets a little bit worse and the red eye starts becoming better, but it's still a very usable weapon. So I'm just going to put it here, right next to the Cobra DMR. It's much stronger than the red eye up to about 50 meters, and then from 50 to 100 they're about equal, and then 100 plus the red eye takes over. But again, these ARs, you use them both in a 2-gun and a 3-gun setup for 0 build. So I'm just going to put it right in the center there. Next one we have is the high-speed explosive red eye. I personally want to put this as a D, but I would say this can be around a C. It's not complete trash, especially if you're playing like a cover peek thing where both people are kind of peeking at each other. It can be quite brutal, but the thing to consider about this is it is not a red eye really. It is kind of a DMR with an explosive element, right? That's the best way to think about it. DMR had 10 bullets. This one now has 12. They fire about the same. They do kind of similar damage, but this one you don't have to rely on headshots so much to get that high damage, right? You can hit someone with a body shot for 60. So it's an okay weapon. The only other thing that I think makes it more D tier is you have to find a lockbox with 2 keys, and then you have to spend those 2 keys. And when there's so many other great options to spend your keys on, and great ARs to run, it makes it kind of worse, and why I would personally put a D tier. But some people really like this, and it's really great to, you can kind of shoot around corners. Like if someone's just sitting on a corner, you can kind of shoot at their feet next to where that corner is and still damage them for 30. So it's decent, but when we have so many other strong weapons, I don't think it's up there as a weapon. But certainly, I've been blasted by this before. In terms of range, from 0 to 10, it's not great. From 10 onwards, it starts to become kind of okay. and then you really can't use it that much more than 100. So I would just put it right in the center here. In terms of a gun setup, you can't really run this in a 2-gun setup. You have to run this in a 3-gun setup just because it's not very versatile, and you lose out on a lot of that post 100-meter range, which is quite useful in Zero Build. So I'm going to put this in 3-gun setup up to about 100 meters. It's okay, but there's just other better weapons. The last AR we have here is the, it is technically an AR, but I'm going to suggest you don't use it as an AR. So this is the overclocked pulse rifle. There is only the mythic variant of this. I will say this is, between an A and an S tier. If you want to use it as a rifle, it is like an A tier rifle, but what you can do is hip fire it and use it as an SMG, which makes it S tier in my opinion. The only way to get this is from the Loot Island's capture point. It drops this mythic overclock pulse rifle on some other gold weapons or purple weapons, and some healables like the slurp juice and the splashes, etc. So where to put this in terms of range? From 0 to 50 meters, it does the most damage in the game by far. When you hip fire, it is absolutely insane. It's like 300 plus DPS. So you can literally melt people within seconds. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, from 0 to 50, it's the #1 damage in the game. From 50 to 100, it's still kind of the #1 damage in the game, maybe similar to the Havoc rifle. The only thing I will say is that it's not really an AR replacement. You can run it in a 2-gun setup, so you can run pulse rifle and Maven, or pulse rifle and combat shotgun, or heisted accelerant Maven. But it is it's not the best as an AR. You can't really use it past 100 meters. It doesn't have a scope. It does zoom in a little bit when you ADS in, but it doesn't go up to that 275, right? So it has some advantages, especially as your kind of SMG replacement. I would say it's the best SMG replacement in the game, and it's quite versatile, so you can run it in a 2-gun setup. I don't recommend that so much, so I'm going to put it a little bit here where it's great up to about 100 meters, and it's really great in it. It's pretty good in a 2-gun setup, but it really shines in a 3-gun setup. Next one we have here, I think that covers all of the rifles, so I'm just going to start going through the shotguns next. So first one is combat shotgun. I will put this one around B tier. The reason why is it is actually good. I will say maybe I could put it when it becomes like gold or purple, it's more like an A tier weapon, but most of the time you're gonna find it white, green, blue rarity, and in which case it's kind of like a B tier weapon. So the reason why this was so strong last season, why people loved it last season, is #1, it was rare to find it, and #2, it was even rarer to get it at a purple or a gold rarity, because gold was so hard to come by, and there was just better options. And the other one is that the only hard-hitting shotgun that we had last season was the Thunder Pump, and the Thunder Pump shotgun took so long to reload that you only had 4 shots, that you would often run out of bullets, and it was just a real pain to use. I still use it all the time, but the amount of times that I ran out of bullets, trying to fight a full squad of 4, made that Thunder Pump worse. And that's where the combat shotgun really shined, because it has 8 bullets, it reloads them, it reloads 2 bullets within less than a second. Yes, it didn't do as much damage, but it was so easy to reload between the fights and stuff like that. So this is a gun that is extremely versatile. You can use it a little bit at range. It reloads so fast. Even if you make a mistake and miss a shot, it doesn't matter that much, because you can reload, and the fire rate is really nice. So I would say maybe this is like between B and A tier. I'll probably put it in A, just because the next one, Maven, I think is in B tier. But essentially, in terms of range, this combat shotgun, compared to all of the other shotguns, has a little bit more range. So obviously shotguns, from 0 to 10 is where they shine, and then from 10 onwards they just start getting worse and worse. But the combat shotgun, you can use it really well. Still, you can do a fair bit of damage, up to 30, 40, 50 meters quite easily. And it will still do a decent amount of damage. So I'm going to say that this is 100% the perfect 2-gun setup. So if this is our 100 meter line, I might just put 2-gun setup 100 meters, and then I'll put 3-gun setup 100 meters. If this is our 100 meter line, then this is quite good up to that kind of 50 meters. but it is really a 2-gun setup. You don't want to be using this and switching to another gun. You just want to be main-handing this weapon and blasting people with it the whole time. Next one here is the Maven shotgun. So this Maven shotgun, I'm going to put it straight into B tier. It is a good shotgun. We've had some terrible shotguns before, like obviously the Breacher. I'm going to put this in D, but we've had some bad shotguns before, like the heavy shotgun, etc. This one, it's not a great shotgun, but it's not bad. You can do a lot of damage with this. It's a little bit okay at range. I would say the Maven does more damage kind of up closer, and the combat shotgun is more versatile, has more bullets, and can go a little bit further distance. So these are both decent. But I think the combat shotgun is a little bit more decent, especially in a 2-weapon setup. So in terms of the Maven, I'm just going to put it here. It is more of a 2-gun setup weapon, and it is a little bit shorter range than the combat shotgun. So you can see here, if the combat shotgun is okay-ish up to 50, the Maven's okay-ish up to 25-30 meters. But they fill kind of similar roles. And it's maybe a little bit easier to find Mavens in lockboxes, although actually combat shotguns are in lockboxes now too. But they're both good weapons for people who don't like switching guns during a battle. They can just main hands it and just keep it as is. Next, and I think the last 2 shotguns that we have are the I'll do the high-speed accelerant Maven. This is an S weapon. The reason why is just because each shot you do with this gun increases your movement speed and your fire rate, and I believe your reload speed as well. Especially in squads, where there is a big chance that you'll run out of shotgun bullets. This high-speed accelerant Maven is insane. You just do so much damage with it. You can shoot somebody and then run up to them and just keep shooting them. So it's just so strong. Last season it was stronger because we had the Shotgun Striker augment, and you could heal up the whole time you were using this weapon, and it basically made you almost invincible. But now this season we do not have Shotgun Striker at the current stage, so it's not as strong, but it's still an S rank weapon in my mind, and one of the better shotguns. In terms of where to use this in a setup, it is a 2-gun weapon. I would put maybe it's a little bit more range than the other Maven, the standard Maven, because when you shoot this, even if you hit 1 damage or something like that, you start gaining like a chili chug. Even if you only hit 1 pellet, you start gaining the chili chug effect, and then you can run up to somebody's face a lot easier and use it. So it's really, really good to be able to chase people down. It's a little less range than the combat, but because of that effect where you gain the movement speed and the fire rate, it becomes much stronger. But again, it's really more useful in a 2-gun setup than a 3-gun setup. Maybe I'll put it around here because it's it's usable in both. It's that strong of a shotgun, but it is a great shotgun in every aspect of the word. The last 2 shotguns we have are the heavy breacher shotgun. This is bad. I really don't like it. The high set effect on it is that you can break down any cover within 1 shot. That's a cool effect, when you think about it, but realistically, it doesn't matter too much, and also it's quite an unwieldy shotgun to use. When you hip fire it, it has a relatively big box, and when you hit that box, it can fire anywhere inside of that box as like a projectile. So because it only fires that 1 bullet, it's really inconsistent, or 1 slug. It's really inconsistent, and it you can have somebody like 80% in the box, and then it just shoots that 1 bullet. Like you could aim entirely on their body, and then all of their shoulders, and then there's like maybe 10-15% of it, or 20%, which is just from their head to their shoulders, and you could have the crosshair dead on them basically, and you wouldn't hit at all with it. So it's super inconsistent, which makes it really difficult to use, and it really kind of makes the fights of the outcome of your fights more random. Yes, it does do a lot of damage when it hits, but that inconsistency is really dangerous, and that's really what causes you to lose games most of all, is inconsistency, right? So this is a D tier weapon. In terms of range, you know, it's between like 0 to 50. Like, it is longer range. You can use it longer range. It is kind of like up here with the combat shotgun in terms of range, because when you ADS in, it really tightens the spread. But it's a high risk. It should be a high risk, high reward gun, but there's almost no reward. So it's a high risk, low reward gun that just makes the outcome of your fights more random. And you have to kind of run another shotgun or another gun to follow up with if it doesn't work. So this is a 3-gun setup where you pair it with a pistol or an SMG. High risk, low reward gun. So this is going basically in the 3-gun up to 50 meters, similar to the combat shotgun. It's not a good gun at all. And last one we have is the Havoc Pump. I would say this Havoc Pump is like a A. And you know, if it's up to like blue, it's like an A tier gun. But when you get it legendary, or especially mythic, it is a S tier gun. Even I would say S++. You know, if it's mythic. And the reason why is because even in zero builds, a full headshot pump with the mythic will one-shot somebody. And even if it's not a full headshot pump, if you hit like 8 pellets, it's doing like 230. If you hit 9 pellets, it's like 240 damage, and then if you hit the full pellets, it's like 250. So, you know, having that ability to one pump somebody is insane. Even in zero builds, even if they're sitting at 250 health, if you're taking like a close range fight and you pump somebody in the head for 250 in a squad, that's one person gone, and you still have 5 bullets and whatever else in your inventory to follow up with. So the Havoc Pump is a great weapon. It has less range than the Thunder Shotgun from last season. So if I put, like, for example, the Havoc, right? You know, it's only really 0 to 10 meters. After 10 meters, it doesn't have much range at all. The Thunder Shotgun, you know, it had a lot more range as a shotgun. You could use the Thunder up to 30 meters or so, and it would still do 40 damage. But this new pump is a pump's pump, right? It's a pump shotgun's pump. Up to that 10 meters, it is absolutely brutal, and it can deal a lot of damage. But the damage drop off of it, and you know, the pellets are a lot more. It's a lot more aggressive, so you can't use it at kind of longer ranges. So I would put this. This is firmly in 3-gun setup territory. You can't really use it in a 2-gun setup. Maybe the Mythic you can if you're really confident about your shots, but you know, it is a 3-gun setup, right? You want to have a pistol or an SMG to follow up with it. But in that 0 to 10 meters, this gun is uncontested. There is no other weapon that has the fear that you can strike in an enemy's hearts with a weapon that does 250 damage up to 10 meters with a good shot, right? So that's all of the shotguns. As you can see here, you know, we've got 2 shotguns that are S tier. We've got another shotgun A, B, and then the D tier heavy breacher shotgun. Next one I'll do is the SMGs and pistols, because you know, the SMG and pistol are essentially in the same territory. The SMG, the pistol, well, last season I would have called it an S or an S+. This season I'm going to call it an A+. Why is because we have so much other good weapons, number one, and number two, last season we had the pistol amp, which gave you a 22 bullet pistol, and the light fingers, which took you from 1.5 seconds down to like 1 second for the mythic, for the reload. So being able to get 22 bullets in 1 second that deal like almost 30 damage with no bloom made the pistol last season with both of those augments like an S tier or S+ tier. I'll say the pistol by itself, no light fingers perk, is A. With light fingers, it's like a S. You know, it is a really strong weapon. It's basically, last season I would say it's better than the Scar, and it does everything the Scar does but better. But this season there's just so many other good weapons, it's hard for me to give it an A. In terms of where to run it, you can run it in a two-gun setup. I wouldn't recommend it. It's more of a 3-gun setup, and you can use it, you know, all the way up to these kind of 100 meters, maybe even a little more than 100 meters. Like, you know, a couple days ago, I was the enemy was like 140 meters, and I'd shot a 10 or 15 bullet burst and hit them for like 170 damage. You can still tap fire it too, so it has a little bit more effective range than the the red eye, but up to 100 it's still absolutely brutal. Past 100, if you tap fire it, it's still okay, but you should probably switch to a red eye or something else. But it's still a good weapon. It's a little bit weaker than some of the other SMGs that we have coming up. I would say the twin mag is around the same. The one thing I do like about the twin mag is it gains much more effectiveness from the light fingers perk. I would say, with light fingers, they're both kind of S, but the twin mag is a little bit better. But I'm just going to put it into A. One thing with the twin mag, it can be a little bit annoying because before the fights, generally, what you can do is shoot one bullet. Let's say, the way that the reload, to take a step back, the way that the reload works is you fire the bullets, and then the first reload is fast because you take the magazine, flip it over, and put it back in, and it's super fast. But the second one is a lot slower, maybe 2 times slower, right? So what you can do is before any sort of fight starts, you just fire one bullet, and then you can do a full reload, and then you'll have the fast reload available for the next fight. The twin mag, the recoil is not that insane. The bloom is not that bad, especially on the higher rarities. It's a good gun, and it does a lot of damage, a little bit less than the pistol, but it's a little bit easier to hit that damage. So I'd say the twin mag is a little bit more, I don't want to say noob, but lower skilled, friendly than the pistol in a 3-gun setup. In terms of range, I would say that the twin mag is definitely stronger in those kind of short range fights. So from like 0 to 30, the twin mag, I would say, beats out the pistol, not including headshots. If you're headshotting a lot, the pistol becomes a lot stronger. But I'm going to say it's around that 40 meters, 50 meters that it starts to drop off. So I'm just going to put it similar here with the heavy shotgun and, with the combat shotgun, the Maven. Between this like 30 to 50 is where it really shines. So I'm going to put it about 40. I would say it's stronger in a 3-gun setup than a 2-gun setup. So you should use it as a follow-up to a Havoc pump shotgun, etc. So you could run Red Eye, Havoc, and a twin mag, or you can run Red Eye, Havoc, and pistol, and that would be a really good setup for kind of all ranges. The next 2 of the SMGs, I'll kind of do them together. This is the Run and Gun P90 and the twin mag. These are both ST weapons. The P90, essentially, its effect is while you're sprinting, you gain back. It starts to automatically reload itself. The bullets inside of the magazine will automatically reload. So if you're chasing somebody down or you're running away from somebody, you can sprint away, and while you're sprinting and sliding and things like that, you'll keep gaining back bullets without having to manually reload. For those who don't know, when you reload, you generally lose movement speed while you're on the ground and not sliding and stuff like that. So this, allows you to reload itself quite easily. Also, it gains the slap effect, which means you will have infinite stamina while you're holding this weapon in your hand. So that's really strong. The blink mag, and also, all of these high-set weapons have the mythic equivalent stats. So they're better than legendary. So they have the highest damage. Same with the twin mag. What is it? The blink mag. Blink twin mag SMG. What it does is when you reload and while you're still holding the weapon, you get 2, maybe 3 dashes forward. So they're both really strong in terms of ranges. The P90 is a little less range. And the twin mag is right here. So I'd say the heisted it does more damage from that like 0 to 30, and then the twin mag is more like 0 to 50. But they both do pretty similar damage. But the P90 is a little bit closer range and better for running away maybe, and the blink mag is a little bit more damage, a little bit more damage at further ranges, and it's a lot better for confusing your opponents in a close range fight, being able to dash towards them, or maybe you shoot them a bit, dash to the left, shoot them a bit, dash to the right, etc. can be really confusing and difficult to deal with. So yeah, this is more an aggressive weapon, and this is more of a versatile, maybe a little bit more defensive weapon. But they're both kind of solidly in this 3-gun setup. You should be running them in more of a 3-gun setup than a 2-gun setup, because they're not as versatile per se, and you still want to have a shotgun with them, you still want to have an AR with them, right? And then our last 2 weapons are the Heavy Sniper and the Dragon's Breath Sniper. I will say the Dragon's Breath Sniper is S, and the Heavy Sniper is A. The reason is quite simple. The Dragon's Breath Sniper is essentially the Heavy Sniper, but with a fire effect, and it's a faster reload. I think the Heavy Sniper is like 4 seconds and then goes down to like 3.6. The Dragon's Breath is like 2.5. I think the Dragon's Breath does have a little bit more bullet drop off, but unless if you're shooting at very far ranges, it shouldn't matter too much. And also, you can use it to set buildings on fire. It's still a one-shot headshot. It still does this almost the same, or if not the same, body shot damage. So they're both quite useful. But yeah, I think the Dragon's Breath is a little bit better. But of course, you have to spend 2 keys to get it. And you have to find a lockbox or a holochest that has the Dragon's Breath Sniper available, so you can't run it every single game. Maybe that brings it down a little bit to A tier, the fact that it's hard to find, and also the bullet drop is a little different, which means you're not going to be used to it every game, whereas a Heavy Sniper, you can find it every game quite easily. In terms of ranges, they're both up to 275 meters fine. Maybe the Dragon's Breath is a little bit less, so the Heavy Sniper is 270, like up to 275, because the bullet, as far as I'm aware, the bullet of the Heavy Sniper travels a lot straighter than the Dragon's Breath. The Dragon's Breath curves a little bit, but both of them are pretty decent. In terms of where you run them, you have to run them in a 3-gun setup. The reason why is, what are you going to replace to run that, right? Are you going to run no katana? Okay, well, you can't move, and you can't, dash in with your teammates and stuff, or dash in a solo to finish up people. Are you going to replace your AR with it? Well, then, it's a little bit dangerous situation. You're kind of banking to hit your sniper shots. So, yeah, these are essentially a 3-gun weapon. You want to use it as a replacement for maybe an SMG, right? So you might run, say, a combat shotgun or a Maven, or these blink mags, a sniper, and a red eye. So yeah, that covers all of the weapons. I'll just show you here again the full tier list. As you can see, that this season has a lot of S tier weapons in my mind. It's a lot of A tier weapons. The amount of damage that is going out in this season is insane. A lot of these weapons do insane damage, right? Like the pulse rifle, its DPS is like 306. The Maven as well. Obviously from the first shot, it's not as much DPS, but as your fire rate goes up, it starts to do insane damage in an extended fight. So especially in team modes where you have to kill 4 enemies, the Maven becomes a lot stronger. Havoc, it's like I said, it's the pump's pump. It does a lot of damage. Like all of these weapons do insane amounts of damage, really good recoil control, etc. Which is why some of these other weapons that are not as much damage or more difficult to hit that damage, more bloom, etc., become a lot worse. But that's going to be all for today, guys. Hopefully, this gives you an idea of the effective ranges of each weapon, the amount of damage they do, where to use them, whether to use them in a 2-gun setup or a 3-gun setup, etc. But if you guys really liked the video, I would appreciate a follow and a subscribe. I've really been enjoying the season, the new season as well. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it too. And just give a comment down below on which weapon is your favorite so far. But thanks all. Bye.